Like this is, you know what? When you're trying to make a transphobic argument so hard that you end up like literally rolling cis men and cis women too, where it's like, who gives a fuck? You know what I mean? You could be like a stay-at-home dad. Like, is that not a father? Like, I don't understand. What if the mother is the primary breadwinner in the family? Like, you're literally just like shitting on everyone that isn't just operating on the 1960s traditional family unit, like cis heteronormative traditional family values or whatever the fuck. And there's plenty of those people that are conservative too, by the way. So like, I don't really get it.
Straight to what they believe, they cannot make that any different.
Man, bing, bang, bada. Just wrap it up right there.
I'm celebrating Juneteenth.
How do you celebrate Juneteenth?
I just bought my Juneteenth flag.
Did you?
Yes.
Very good. Why didn't you have it before now?
Well, I was just reminded from the media this week to buy one.
Oh, yeah. Did you buy your pride flag as well?
Yep. I left it at
too.
home, though.
I have pride as well. Straight pride. I'm straight. And
This is so perfect. Okay, honestly, that's perfect. Because like, it's so ugly. Like, what a perfect representation. Like all the pride merch is fucking gosh, okay? Let's be real. Like, a lot of this pride merch is just like, you know, pink washing, green washing corporations that want to make like profits off of social justice causes, and they're so ugly for the most part. But like, that somehow takes the cake. She got the GTA font. It's literally like, it's somehow worse, dude. It's somehow fucking worse than like all the pride shit. Like, it's perfect. It's actually a perfect representation of like straight pride and how fucking boring and shitty it is. It's just like so bland, so tasteless.
if you're straight and you want to show your pride during June, you can go to lhmerch.com. You can get 20% off with the code that's on there.
Like, what the fuck? Who gets motivated to like buy this shit, dude? That's so whack. Then again, I don't even know who the fuck would buy like pride merchandise. Like, Equinox is like rolling out pride merchandise. And it's just like, okay, it's got the rainbow on it. Like, it's still $70 fucking for goddamn shorts, you know? I just don't understand. I think it's so stupid.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have straight pride?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, blurred lines when I'm with this guy, though.
Oh, yeah. Well, we won't talk about that. Do you think any of those arguments...
Just dudes being bros at the beach, dude. Being a little fucking gay with the homies. You know what I mean? Nothing wrong with that, okay? Nothing wrong with kissing your homies a little bit at the beach, you know? Body to body, going to the water. Bodies are touching one another, you know? They're just homosexual.
would hold water if we were to abolish Father's Day?
I don't think so. I mean,
I don't think
He's
this is
gay.
offensive.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you want to abolish Mother's Day because you can't chime in on that?
No.
Like, who the fuck wants to abolish Father's Day? What the fuck? Is there even a movement amongst like rad libs even that are like, we need to abolish Father's Day? Like, no one fucking says that, right? Like, I've never heard that. Like, I actually have not heard that. Like, at all. Maybe there is one. I don't know. But, like, who gives a fuck? One way or the other, it's just, like, meaningless.
Why do you think there's that subsect of people that want to just ruin something if they don't fit in or they don't like it?
I think they're just exaggerated.
Bro, literally saying that, and she's wearing a straight pride shirt, dude. Dog, that's literally you. That's you. You're like, you can't fucking... You're so butthurt that, like, gay pride exists that you had to make your ugly-ass fucking gray-ass shirt that says straight pride on it. You made an entire career off of, like, going to the beach and, like, annoying people with your fucking prodding takes, trying to get, like, an ounce of fucking... Just a little bit of bigotry out of, like, the random beachgoers that you meet on any given day. Like, that's literally all you do. It's all conservatives do in general. It's just like, it's just like gay people exist and they're like, ah, it makes me so mad.
kind of, and they just want everything to be about them. I mean, I don't have anything against them that like think that. Like everyone has their own opinion. I just don't think it would happen. I don't think anyone's canceling Father's Day. Not in my book.
What is a father?
A father is a man who raises a child. I think that's pretty plain and simple.
There's a lot of people on this beach that are they're afraid to say the male part of that.
Oh, really? That's silly. That's one of the biggest parts that makes the difference between a mother and a father.
I think it's really important for people to have a father. Like, I feel like a lot of people who are in prison don't have a father, so it's kind of weird that saying that fathers aren't needed in society today. It's kind of crazy. It kind of seems ass backwards.
The funniest part about the video is the background music, because it's like she has like Girls Gone Wild vibes. Like the entire fucking show is like centered as those Girls Gone Wild, which is of course like a famous video series in the 90s where like these guys would go to like spring breakers and try to get women to show their titties and stuff. And now it's just this, you know what I mean? Zoomers don't know, but they do know that at the top of the hour there's a 60-second ad break. Zoomers know that now. They know how to eat hot chip and expect the 60-second ad break at the top of the hour and lie. And they also know that if they no longer want to see the ads, and there is something they can do, they can subscribe. They can subscribe for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime. This way they can have a ad-free broadcasting experience. This is Zoomers. I'm letting you know, dude. You can use an ad block or a VPN too. You know, it's up to you, baby. You can do what you want. But here's the ad break now.
But I mean, the people definitely need fathers. Like, I don't know. You have anything to say about that?
Why are people scared to say that fathers are men?
Cancel culture. That's why.
That's right.
People think, and I don't even think it's like a large group of people that are like hating. It's just even companies are going with the very small minority that just have the loudest and scream the loudest, and I mean, set buildings on fire for riots. Like, they're just listening to this small minority.
They just want to appease.
Wait, what? It's cancel culture, and that's why buildings are on fire because Father's Day? What? What the fuck? It's cancel culture when people light buildings on fire because Father's Day exists? Dude, he literally didn't understand what the question was, I think. Or maybe I didn't understand it. And he just kind of fucking blurted out like every conservative talking point in a row. He's just like, something will slap. I'll slap this on. One of these will fit the bill, you know? Don't think too much about it.
The violent extremist out there.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I feel like that's not normal. Like, that's definitely not the norm.
Like when he was talking about fatherlessness as a consequence of our criminal justice system, I unironically thought he was going to go somewhere woke with that and be like, yeah, which is why we really need to fucking let out like non-violent criminal offenders, you know? Like I genuinely thought he was going to go somewhere good with that. And then he was just like, but they're burning buildings. They're burning buildings because Father's Day. Why would you think this? I don't know. When I think of a fuckload of dads in prison, my immediate reaction isn't like, we should put more dads in prison. It's the opposite. So maybe there's something wrong with me. He said people without a father end up in prison. Oh, okay. I didn't even understand what he was saying.
But
yeah, don't have a father equals jail.
people just kind of listen to the ones that scream the loudest and...
What if conservatives get loud? What if we get loud? Do you think anything will change?
Yeah, dude. Famously, conservatives are always so quiet, dude. You know? Silent majority. It's just like they're so quiet all the time. I'm always thinking to myself, fuck, man, if only conservatives were a little bit louder. It's like, dude, you louder with Crowder. God damn, bro. Like, Conservatives should exercise shutting the fuck up sometimes, you know?
Change?
We get ousted as racists, or kind of the FBI starts knocking on your door.
What is different?
Yeah, dude, come on. I mean, that's a self-report. He's like, come on, when conservatives get a little loud, like, you know, the January 6th insurrection happens, and then the FBI comes knocking on your door for doing a little bit of a, come on, guy, like, just trying to have a little insurrection on the side, brother. What the fuck? You know, we were just getting a little loud, dude, with our conservative beliefs, but also Antifa did it.
From about a father
Yeah, we
than
get
any
outed.
other role model out there?
I feel like they're strong and they do like kind of the dirty work most of the time.
Yeah, they do. They kind of carry the family on their shoulders.
And they do that because they're
Men?
men.
Men.
Now that seems like, why are you asking me this type of question? There's people I've talked to today that are scared to say that fathers are men because it's offensive to the trans people out there and the lesbians out there. They want to abolish Father's Day because it's offensive.
I think everybody has to have someone to look up to, and I think just being in the
Yeah, literally, come on, just like say something transphobic. Don't you get it? Like, I need you to say something like bad right now, please, 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 please. What about, come on. Like, I'm gonna argue on a point that like absolutely zero people have made an issue about. Come on, just say something, dude. No one is agreeing with me. Come on.
system. We've worked with foster care before, and I think that it's important for boys especially to have a strong male role model.
Who's smoking the devil's lettuce out here?
I don't know, but I'm jealous.
Do you smell it? I think I see the culprit. I think he's just running around with it in his hands.
Why would that be a problem? God, conservatives are so fucking lame, dude. Being anti-weed is like the ultimate fucking self-report as a lame ass, dude. It's not like 1984 anymore, you know? Even then, like, you're so lame. Like, why are you upset about people smoking weed? Like, even chuds smoke it, you know? Especially when it's legal. It's like getting upset that people are drinking alcohol. New John Oliver.
Moving on. Our main story tonight concerns home renovations. They're a big commitment that always turn out great, unless, that is, you're on trading spaces, in which case they can turn out like this.
We are in the room, okay? Open your eyes and see your new family room.
Wow.
I'm gonna have to leave the room now.
You're that disappointed.
Well, I'm gonna have to.
Wow, that's a shame. Kudos to Pam there for being gracious enough to step out. She's showing a level of restraint that those designers very much did not. Because why is that fireplace opaque? Who would look at a sexy flickering fire and say, great, but what if it was blurry? Also, that is just too many candlesticks. The whole room is a windowless inferno waiting to happen. It's deranged, it's unsafe, and frankly, Pam deserved better. But specifically, we're going to talk about a way to finance home improvements called PACE. It was originally designed to provide low-income homeowners a way to make their homes more environmentally friendly. And to explain more, here is Netflix's very own Barack Obama.
We're making it easier for American homeowners to take advantage of a new program called PACE. Here's how it works. If you make the switch to solar, you can now install solar panels or retrofit your home to make it more energy efficient at no upfront cost, all by paying for them through the future savings on your energy bills.
Well, that sounds like a great program for homeowners. And by the way, if you are under the age of 35, let me quickly clear up your confusion here. A homeowner is a person who owns their home. They don't rent it. The house belongs to them, like your parents. You know how your parents live in a house, but they don't have a landlord and they don't have to sign a lease and they don't pay a security deposit? It's like that. It's their house. Don't worry, though, that will never be you. You're not allowed to do that. America decided a few years back that if you were born after 1985, you don't get to own a house. You do get to rent apartments for the rest of your life, though, as you gradually pay off the student loan debts from your...
Classic libtard making shit up again. Pff, homeowners. Yeah, right, dude. Like, that's a real concept, dude. Sick and tired of these goddamn liberals just making stuff up. Like, no one has ever heard of a person who literally owns the home that they live in, so... It's just crazy. Shut up, John. Dumbass. Yeah, it's not... Go back to England or something.
Your liberal arts degree. That's the thing that you get to do. So if you're under 35, you can actually skip this story. Don't even worry about it. Go fight with a 15-year-old on TikTok about the coolest way to part your hair. Your life is sad, and that's okay.
Okay, dude. It's fucking what? I'm sorry, what? Did you just... What? Fuck this guy, dude. Oh,
PACE,
Jesus
though,
Christ.
stands for Property Assessed Clean Energy, and the idea originated in California as the brainchild of this guy, Cisco DeVries, the former chief of staff to the mayor of Berkeley, who describes himself as a capitalist hippie, which absolutely tracks for a guy whose name sounds like he's about to gentrify jazz. There are actually two PACE programs, one for commercial properties and one for residential ones. And we're going to focus on the second one, where there are huge problems. Because after a trial run in Berkeley, the residential PACE program exploded across California. In just the second half of 2014, lenders issued $148 million in PACE loans. And just a year later, as more counties across the state signed on, that number quadrupled to over $500 million. Right now, these three states have active PACE programs, but plans to expand to other states, including New York and Ohio, are very much in development.
What a strange, eclectic group of states. You got California, and you got Missouri and Florida. What the fuck?
And that should be a cause for real concern. Because when PACE loans go wrong, they can go very wrong. Take this California couple who ended up losing their home. They say their problem started when a contractor turned up at their house pitching a PACE-funded improvement.
Their house badly needed a new roof, so they signed up.
Well, I thought it was a wonderful thing. It was just really a godsend.
One thing led to another.
Once he saw the roof, he says, well, looks like this wall.
Then it was the floor.
Well, I think there's some damage there.
Then a few months later...
Jumped our mortgage payments $600 a month.
Our life began to unravel at that very moment. My thought is that we're going to wind up in a tent.
Look, there are some situations where the idea of ending up in a tent is exciting. If you're going camping, for example, or seeing the circus, or walking into the forest to finally abandon society forever and live among the trees. But it shouldn't really be the desired outcome when you're just trying to fix your fucking roof. Unfortunately, the story of PACE is a cautionary tale about how good intentions, when not paired with careful, smart design, can end in disaster. And given that Joe Biden promoted the program as vice president and promised on his campaign website to expand the utilization of PACE, it seemed that tonight it might be a good idea to take a look at it. And let's start with how PACE works, because basically it's money designated for repairs or upgrades to your house. The average PACE loan is about $25,000, and repayment periods usually stretch between 5 and 25 years. But the way you pay it back is both unusual and very complicated. Even though I've already called it a loan, it's technically a lien on your house, a kind of debt directly attached to your property, in which, in this instance, you gradually pay back through your property taxes. And ads promoting PACE have liked to put that fact front and center.
Your house is actually borrowing the money, and not you personally.
It's more like the house is getting the financing, because payments are made through an assessment on your property taxes.
It's as if your house is borrowing the money, not you personally.
Okay, stop, because there is an obvious problem there. Even if your house is technically borrowing the money, that money comes in the form of property taxes, and you pay for those. Your house doesn't, because houses can't pay taxes, because houses don't have money, because they're houses. It's the equivalent of buying a new sweater and telling the cashier, oh, the sales tax is on the sweater, so the sweater will pay that. That's not how taxes, or indeed sweaters, work. Those ads are from Pace administrators. Those are private companies hired by cities to handle the logistics of the program, including providing financing and approving loans. Some of the biggest players are these companies, the largest of which is called Y-Green, which is just objectively a stupid name. It sounds like a contemplative jazz album from Kermit the Frog. But the real origin of the name is somehow even stupider, as a Y-Green representative explained during a local sponsored content segment.
Y-Green, I love this. It's easy to remember because it's actually energy spelled backwards.
Exactly. Most people don't figure that out, but a couple reminders, they usually get it.
Yeah, of course they get it, because it's not a hard thing to get. Y-Green basically put about as much effort into their name as Trading Spaces put into Pam's family room. There are a number of big flaws in how PACE programs are designed, and here is one of the first key issues. While companies like Y-Green may promote PACE through ads and SponCon segments, the majority of actual sales to customers are done by individual contractors who'll be performing the renovations. And think about what that means for a moment. The people with responsibility of pitching a very complicated financial product, a pseudo loan that's technically a tax lien, are contractors whose training is not in finance. No judgment here, it's just people are trained for different things. It's the same reason that you don't ask a banker to regrout your bathroom tile. They're going to make a mess. In practice, the way it usually works is a contractor will approach you, maybe outside a shopping centre or at your church or even knocking directly on your door. And they'll offer to install, let's say, solar panels or a new air conditioner with the promise of no money down and that, crucially, the improvements should pay for themselves through huge future savings. The thing is, though, contractors are not always completely straight with customers about just how much their property taxes could go up.
They came to my house, they said that I needed the solar system, that it was gonna dramatically reduce my light bills. When my property taxes came back in November, I went from $600 property taxes to almost $10,000 property taxes, which I could not pay.
$600 to $10,000. That is not good. The only time the value of something should change that dramatically is if Elon Musk shits out a tweet about it. We truly live in the best possible system. But also, it seems pretty unlikely solar panels are going to cut her electricity bill by $10,000. In fact, for all of the talk about how PACE improvements will pay for themselves, there is a fundamental flaw there, as this professor who has studied them will tell you.
A foundational flaw of the PACE program is that there is no independent energy audit required of a home before home contractors can start suggesting all sorts of things to do to it. Some of these things are maybe put in incredibly expensive high-efficiency windows, even though the existing windows are not the main source of energy waste, and you would do much better just caulking a few leaks.
Exactly. There is no independent party required to assess whether your renovations would cut close to enough energy costs to be worth it, which really seems like something you'd want verified by a third party. It's the same reason that we have independent health inspectors put a letter.
I don't know, brother. I think like lack of government regulation from the nanny state's a good thing. These are just simply proud private business owners that are, you know, using yet another goddamn nanny state subsidy to their own benefit to make sure that they make as much money as they possibly can off the middle class. The way to combat this would be about doing Yelp reviews on said contractors, you know? You're a dumbass who fall for this? I mean, dude, that's so fucked up. It's still predatory as shit. Like, there's a reason why... Okay. There's a reason why we have the FDA, right? So that people can't just come out and be like, yeah, buy this toothpaste and your dick will get bigger. And then the toothpaste is like fucking lead in it, okay? And then you die. Like, that kind of regulation exists because you would never be like, yeah, well, they're dumbasses for falling for that. It's so fucking stupid. There's a guy listening about how PACE works for the last 10 minutes like he knew anything beforehand. Wait, I'm confused. Should I not make up a... Should I not cultivate an opinion on something after learning about it? Like, what the fuck? I think you meant the chatter. Oh. The guy who talked earlier calling other dumb. Oh, okay.
grade outside a restaurant, as opposed to letting the owner put up his own sign that says, "Trust me, it's clean." And that actually brings us to the next key quirk of the PACE program. Because if those energy savings don't cover the additional taxes you incur, you could be in big trouble. Remember those ads about how your house pays for the financing, not you? What that means is your house is now the collateral for the debt. So if things go wrong, you could well lose your home and, end up in a tent. And there are far fewer protections to prevent that than you might think. Because this is a tax lien rather than a loan, the financing isn't subject to the same consumer protections that you would get with a standard home loan. So for instance, in Florida, the state doesn't require PACE providers to explain the cost of improvements, check if the people who sign up can actually afford to pay back the money, or if they even understand the terms. And PACE administrators will insist that they do all of those things anyway, that they're diligent about vetting homeowners, the projects that they take on, and their ability to repay. But there are so many examples of failures to do that. Thanks to PACE, one Missouri homeowner wound up with $25,000 of debt on a home that was appraised by the city at the time at just $8,400. And if at this point you're wondering why on earth people sign up for these loans, it's because they're often presented as a government program, one that, remember, President Obama promoted, which might instill a false sense of security.
They did mention a government program, and that's why you hear government, you think this is an awesome deal. And you don't expect what happened to happen.
In a hidden camera investigation.
It's great. It's great. It's just like, these people are fortunate enough, and they're significantly better off than like so many other people in younger generations, that they at least have like a home. So let's figure out a way to get them out of that, so that ultimately banks can sweep in and purchase it. It's like financial institutions use every opportunity to just like destroy capital ownership. It's kind of wild of like the middle class.
May, we caught contractors touting claims of government programs.
So because of what you have going on, this government program could actually help you.
Oh, that is a government program.
Yeah.
When we showed up, the sales pitch was over, and they had some parting words.
You suck, by the way.
Look, I'd say I felt bad for that reporter who was clearly just doing his job and was then met with a man berating him from his compact Toyota. But think of it this way, at least now he knows what it's like to be a woman on the street who doesn't smile back. And if all of this is starting to feel potentially predatory, that's because it often is. And if you know anything about the history of predatory lending, it will not remotely surprise you to learn that an analysis of one of the largest markets for PACE in Florida found that many of those with the highest debt burdens under PACE financing were found to be in majority-minority zones. And it doesn't stop there, because contractors have also been accused of targeting neighborhoods of non-English speakers, senior citizens, and even those with intellectual disabilities, like this man, who, as his lawyer points out, absolutely did not understand what he was signing up for.
It's very apparent from speaking with him that he doesn't understand these loans. He doesn't understand the contracts that he entered into. He had kitchen remodeling done, and he doesn't even cook. He gets Meals on Wheels. He doesn't use his kitchen. He's a nice guy. He wants someone to talk to. So he invites them in, he talks to them, and they talk him into, hey, you need these windows replaced. You need your kitchen remodeled.
Look, I get that you're on his side, and I do appreciate that, but your client is sitting right there. Someone should, at the very least, have thought to move that interview outside. The number one rule of talking about someone behind their back is that their back should not be anywhere in your immediate vicinity. And companies routinely defend themselves by arguing that they disclose everything clearly and that people simply shouldn't sign these contracts if they can't understand them. But that's a little disingenuous when their whole operation so often emphasizes speed over slow deliberative consideration. These companies' websites brag about their super fast approvals or their speedy approval process, or make claims like get approved for white green financing in 30 minutes or less. And the clear implication there is that you can basically get your money like that. Oh, shit.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I'm sorry, George.
I like this new segue more than I like the fucking animal furry stuff. I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I'd rather have him do George Clooney. Like, I'd rather have him keep overdoing the George Clooney memes rather than, like, his furry jokes. Here's a popular lib tweet on Father's Day being during Pride Month. Why is Father's Day during Pride Month? Can someone fix this? What? I don't get it. Like, is it like, what are they saying? I mean, they're probably joking, right? Like what is this notion that, like, it's got to be a joke? I mean, this is a comedian writer. Like, it's obviously a fucking joke. Like, taking that seriously is so stupid. Especially considering that, like, you know, there are plenty of fucking fathers in the LGBT community. As a matter of fact, like, one form of, like, fighting LGBT oppression and suppression by the government as it stands is literally about, like, members of the LGBT community becoming parents. So, you know, I think most people recognize that, which is why I would assume that it's a joke.
I snapped my fingers without really thinking.
You know I'm busy, right?
I do. Actually, what are you up to right now, George? Anything fun? Yeah, fair enough. The point is, though, a common sales tactic here is fast approvals. Contractors often go door to door with a tablet, encouraging people to sign electronically. And in one company's video, a contractor talks openly about just how fast the e-sign process is.
I just take the people to the adopt and sign portion of it, have them pick a signature, sign all the remaining pages, and we're done in just a matter of minutes. I was in a house in Rialto. Patio door was open behind me, the rain was pouring, the TV was on loud, 3 dogs barking, 4 kids yelling, and we got through it, and I fell in love with the e-sign program after that.
Oh, I bet you did. Although I'm not sure, look how easy it was to get this stressed out homeowner to sign a legally binding document is quite the flex he seems to think it is. There are indeed several things you can do in a matter of minutes while 4 children are screaming and 3 dogs are barking in the background. You can schedule a grocery delivery, or have a tense eye contact only argument with your spouse, or like an Instagram post from an ex announcing they're making music now, then find that ex's music on SoundCloud, then send that ex's new songs to your group thread, then watch as they mercilessly tear Tevis's amateur EDM tracks a new arsehole. All of that can be accomplished under those chaotic circumstances, but signing up for a massive lien on your house from a guy who is in love with his iPad probably shouldn't be. Because this isn't like agreeing to the terms and conditions of an iTunes update. This is like sitting across the table from a banker, potentially signing your house away. The problem is, the incentives just aren't really there for contractors to make sure that the people that they're selling to can actually pay back the loans they're taking on, especially because in the final quirk of this program that makes it so dangerous, the PACE loan isn't just a lien on your house, it's what's called a priority lien, meaning that in the event of a foreclosure, PACE lenders get to collect their money first ahead of the mortgage lender or anyone else. The fact that that's the case enables companies like Wygreen to bundle that debt together and sell it on Wall Street as a very safe investment, because for those investors, it's a near guaranteed return. But for homeowners themselves, it can spell complete disaster. For one thing, it can make it much harder to sell your house because no one wants to buy a house with a lien on it for tens of thousands of dollars for renovations that might have been done a decade ago. If you are house hunting and you find that out, it's like hearing the realtor say, here's the garage/meth lab, or here's the basement where the kidnapped kids were chained up, or here are the popcorn ceilings. It immediately kills any appeal the house ever held. And it's not just homeowners raising the alarm here. That priority lien placement is the primary reason why in 2010, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac stopped backing mortgages on homes that had PACE loans. And this is yet another potentially devastating consequence to a system with no real accountability baked in. Remember that California couple? Here is their
popcorn ceilings, baby. This is the second home I've been in that doesn't have popcorn ceilings. I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. It's delicious.
Contractor explaining why none of what happened to them is his fault.
Did you as a contractor, though, ever confirm if they had the ability to pay? Because this is an older couple on fixed income. They say there's no way they could have paid for the work that you took on in their house.
I don't qualify people. PACE qualifies people.
Well, there's a lot of passing the buck here because...
No, there's no passing the buck, miss. What you should do is talk to Y-Green, who they had the contract with.
Well, hold on there. Because it's pretty bold to claim there's no passing the buck, only to immediately then pass the buck. It harkens back to that famous sign in Harry Truman's office, "The buck stops here," with Larry down the hall. He's the one who handles all the paperwork. You should really go talk to him. The point is, every player here is perpetuating a cycle of zero accountability. The PACE administrators blame the contractors blame the administrators, and sometimes the finger of blame gets pointed directly at the customers themselves, because here is where...
I mean, that's what they did post-2008 too. A lot of banking defenders unironically turned around and said it was the fucking buyers that were not victim to predatory lending, but instead getting greedy and taking on loans that they had no idea that they could ever pay off, taking on mortgages that they never could pay off, and they shouldn't have done that. It's their fault.
Legally, I have to tell you that Y-Green, which is energy backwards, by the way, it's very clever, insists that they have rigorous disclosure practices, exercise robust oversight over contractors, and have never personally foreclosed on a home. They also insist that that couple received all the appropriate financing documents and that they, not Y-Green, selected the contractors to work on their house, sort of implying that it was all their fault, which is pretty hard to take, given that Y-Green selects which contractors it allows into its program. If your seafood restaurant sells tainted lobsters, they shouldn't get to shrug it off by saying, well, you picked the one you wanted out of the tank, when they put those lobsters in there in the fucking first place. And companies are always going to insist that this is just a problem of a few bad apple contractors and that they are always improving their processes. But I would argue the flaws of this program are baked into how it operates. And no one knows this better than tax collectors, because they are the ones who end up having to collect on the debts homeowners rack up, and they can be the ones having to do the foreclosures. Just listen to this Missouri tax collector begging his county to get rid of its PACE program just last month.
I can tell you what the facts are going to be. The more of these that you have, some percentage of the people will lose their houses. And you can make the consumer protections better and you can make them a little more rigorous. But at the end of the day, some people will have their homes taken from them. I think the bottom line is that there is no circumstance, in my opinion, in which it makes sense to offer the county's power to take your house in return for getting you money to buy a new air conditioner or a solar panel or whatever it may be.
Exactly. Nobody in this country should be losing their home because of an air conditioner. They should be losing their home because of unexpected medical bills, you know, like an American. And all of this may be about to come to a head if foreclosures begin to rise in the wake of the pandemic. In fact, one Florida tax collector has even warned that PACE will become Florida's next mortgage crisis if we're not careful, which is chilling, because the conditions are prime for a disaster, but it seems like we're not doing anything to stop it. It's like how we inexplicably let Harrison Ford continue to fly planes. We all know what's going to happen.
It's actually a good joke.
Somebody do something before it's too late. So what can we do here? Well, we could try some reforms like stopping door-to-door sales, but the truth is, as that guy said, people could still end up losing their homes. The tougher question might be whether or not reform is even worth it. Because for the record, PACE isn't even the only way that low-income homeowners can get help to finance green energy upgrades. Nationally, there's the Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Program and the Federal Weatherization Assistance Program, or WAP, as it's known to absolutely no one. And in Florida and California specifically, there are several programs that can assist low-income households in energy funding. The point here is, if you, your parents, or anyone you know is considering a PACE loan, you should definitely see if you or they are eligible for programs like these first. And if you live in a county that is thinking of implementing a PACE program with for-profit administrators, do whatever you can to stop it. Because the fact is, this business model is fundamentally flawed. And I'm not saying that affordable clean energy isn't something we should be investing in. It absolutely is. But we shouldn't be putting vulnerable people in a position where they are risking their homes. Sadly, this is yet another example where a well-meaning public program has been corrupted by the presence of private companies. And if they come to where you live, you would be well advised to tell them to cuff foe. It's actually fuck off backwards. Most people don't figure that out, but after a couple of reminders, they usually get it.
Okay, it was all right. Oh my God, is eating animals wrong? Oh my God. Oh my God, Jubilee did it again, dude. They did it again. They did it again. Oh God, this is gonna be bad. I don't even know if we should do this. Okay, before we start, I just gotta... Here, hold on. I'll just play this real quick so people understand where I'm coming from, okay? Here. It just... Okay, I'm playing this just as a preemptive strike here, okay?
It's Leo on the beat, yeah.
Vegans, I don't hate you, okay? I hope. Oh my God, vegans are awesome. Oh my God, vegans are the best. Oh my God, vegans are awesome. Oh my God, vegans are the best.
We were gonna forage.
I really do love those people. I love vegans. Oh my God, they're so perfect. I love vegans. I really do love those people. I love vegans. Oh my God, they're so perfect. Okay, let's get started. Just strap in, boys. It's gonna be a fucking journey.
If we were all born like 3 centuries from now, the world has been globalized and like agriculture can reach every corner of the globe, how would that affect, if at all, your views or your choices?
Am I going to be judged if I say not at all?
I became vegan because I could no longer think about eating something that was once living and breathing.
The primary thing that keeps me vegan is just
God.
always the animal liberation. The idea that we are trying to push our ideas onto others. That stereotype I've experienced the most.
Hunting is a very hard concept for people to understand. I am in Texas, it's a lot more acceptable, even though being a woman who hunts, people still, have a really hard time with that concept.
I feel like a lot of people think vegans are more effeminate. People will question your sexuality oftentimes.
I grew up in a rural village, living off the land. The way we live is in total respect to the animals, and I think there's so much that people...
Wait, is that not wrong? Wait, really? Do people say like, oh, you're vegan? I just assume if someone's a vegan that they're a liberal, like at the most. Yes, all the time. Vegan female trait. I'm vegan, but I understand that hunting is a part of native tradition.
People do not know about indigenous culture.
We brought vegans and hunters to spark a dialogue. Wait, only 2 hunters? Where's the third one? Unfortunately, one cast member was unable to attend the day of filming, but we still love the conversation we wanted to share with you. Damn, the third hunter bailed, dude. He's too busy hunting. That's what he was doing. Sorry, I'm out hunting you pussies.
I'm queer, I'm vegan, and I'm multiracial.
Hi, my name is Don Marvens. I've been a vegan for coming on 6 years now. I'm a freelance photographer, and I recently moved to the LA area.
My name is Nina. I'm 24. I've been vegan for coming up on 5 years now, and I'm a professional astrologer.
Hi, my name is Brittany. I'm Koyukon Dene from Alaska. I'm a first-generation college graduate, and I went to school in the California area, and I'm currently on a road trip visiting.
Dude, it's great. Indigenous people auto like lock vegans into a shitty argument because like they could just immediately be like, you're not respecting my traditions. And most vegan people are still like, they're super lib. A lot of them are rad libs, so they're just not going to be able to fucking counter that. Actually, I don't know. I don't know because like we'll see. Because some vegans will just like immediately be like, there's the edge cases of vegans that like will literally fucking turn around and just straight up be like, well, you wouldn't eat a disabled person. You know what I mean? Like they want to immediately jump to the name the trade argument. Anyway, let's keep going.
Friends to learn whose land I'm on.
I am Carly. I'm from Texas. I'm a wife, a mom. I also do sales and marketing consulting.
The first prompt is, I care about animals' well-being. Walk forward if you agree.
Is that surprising to y'all that 2 hunters walked over?
I would love to hear why. Yeah, I would love to hear it.
Hunters have the utmost.
Bro, I feel like he's gonna drop some fucking lines, dude. Okay. I feel like he's spicy. Okay. He already started out with like, I'm multiracial. I was like, oh God, here we go. I wonder what he's gonna say.
Respect for animals. And I think that's a really hard thing for people to see. It's how can you love something and respect something that you kill? It's just a hard concept, right? Conservation is a big reason why I hunt. It not only provides food for my family, but I can shoot a certain number of deer each year, and that will keep that population and that herd thriving.
I guess I've never really came at this conversation from like an angle of vegans versus hunters. It's always vegans versus a meat eater.
Mm-hmm.
So I understand, in a sense, the respect you have to what you're doing. I just know that I could never do that.
Yeah, and I think that for me is one of my maybe more bigger issues, is not with vegans, but it's more people who eat meat but don't understand hunting. So you're gonna eat meat that was slaughtered at a factory, right. But I can't just give a deer one swift, great bullet in the heart where it dies out where it's supposed to die.
I was one of those people that said I could never even be vegetarian. Like I was probably like the people that you're describing, just, you know, not having a connection to what they're eating. I didn't think about it. And then
vegetarians are gonna get mad at me for saying this, but they're cowards, okay? Vegetarians are when you're like, yeah, I don't really like to eat meat. I think fucking cow rape is still acceptable. I think like you know, eating the child of chickens is acceptable. Diet vegan Andes, dude. What's up? Yeah, you're just like, yeah, I'm gonna suckle on a cow titty. Fuck it. Child is chicken period. Yeah. Okay, chicken period. Fine. So okay, so is that a problem? Like eating chicken periods is a problem? I guess because it's like unethically sourced, right?
As streaming services go, I found a little documentary through the suggestions.
But it changed your life.
And it changed my life. And like I remember I went to brunch that morning and I had like sausage and egg and like fried cheese. And then that night I watched this documentary. And so that's why I'm vegan, because I can't support like us as an industry and as a populace, like removing the choice from that large of a swath of animal populations just because they're animals.
If there was a solution, like just the magic happens, the skies part, and all the meat is like done in a way that is humane, would that make you more inclined to eat meat?
I think that you sort of get into the fundamentals of like, is it humane to kill something? I have to understand and respect and honor that like in indigenous cultures, you know, there's many reasons why people hunt. We would all be remiss if we didn't admit that, you know, at a time in human history, like we needed animal protein and animal meat to survive. But today, it's not necessarily a necessity.
I was being taught ethical hunting by an ethical hunter. And again, I think that's a harder concept here, because trust me, like they're asshole hunters. But that's what I saw conservation and I saw ethical hunting and I saw why we do it and I saw the food. You know, I haven't bought beef. I mean, in 6-7 years.
Can I ask you a question that I'm kind of scared to ask?
And we'll see.
So you said that you're a mother, and if you think of like Bambi, do you ever consider the small baby animals.
Dude,
that
I'm
you're taking
excited.
their
Come on. When are they going to hit the fucking name the trait, dude? I want them to fucking be as like bloodthirsty as they are in any given internet debate. Like I love vegans when they're fucking rowdy as shit, dude. I want to hear the arguments. Like, how can you justify murdering Bambi?
Parents away from them.
Okay. So Bambi doesn't exist. Right. That's a Disney movie. If a mom is there with her yearlings, you would never kill that mom, right? You wait until she kicks them out of the house.
And that's part of like ethical hunting.
That is like, yeah, no one really, like you wait until the babies are kicked out.
I learned from my Tlingit cousins, they're from the southeastern Alaska. They're the ones that invented the fish hook. It was so wide that only a full-grown halibut could get caught. It's a generational thought. You're not just thinking about, oh, I need food tonight. You're like, how do I make sure I protect their natural processes? When fish hooks are made now, anything can come out. So many of our pre-colonial traditions were staying in balance with animals, and we had so many practices that prevented overhunting. And the people who are living off the land, who are fighting for the land, are getting last priority. We're not allowed to fish if there's commercial fishing. We're constantly being watched and fined. It's constantly having land taken away. If you look at any community, it's constantly happening to them where they're told.
I can't. If a vegan was actually fucking spicy, right now they turn around and be like, "Oh wow, your land is being taken away by massive massive companies. Well, how about taking your life away because someone wants to eat your children?" Like, come on, just say it, dude. I want to hear a vegan just go fucking buck wild. Like this. Vegans say shit like that to me all the time. Not really like hearing out whether or not there's like indigenous people in the audience or anything like that. Just considering what? Just curious. How do you morally justify eating meat? Delicious.
They're not allowed to do this or eat this. It's all connected. It's all a cycle.
Veganism is a privileged way of living.
If you have a choice of where you get to get your food and where it comes from,
why did the
and
hunter
even
not say
knowing
yes to
about
that?
it is a privilege.
To have the choice to be vegan, that includes, makeup and clothing and all of these things. And, sustainable clothing, for example, is a top dollar if you're trying to buy it new. And thrifting is great, but some people don't even have access to that. And so I think that choice is a privilege and veganism is a choice.
I was born in Haiti, the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, and the fact that my parents were able to leave with me when I was just like 1 year old into the States, like really shaped how my life would go. The lifestyle that I'm living is such a stark contrast from the people down in the Caribbean.
I feel like I have to talk about how veganism, especially in the States and especially in like the global West, has been totally co-opted by I'm just gonna say it, by whiteness. Veganism shouldn't be a privilege in my opinion, but it is. Like the world that we live in now, it is.
They're hella reasonable.
I don't know enough about being a vegan. I think of it as like something that rich white people do, but I don't know. I don't know any vegans. I don't know how much money it costs.
Yeah, a lot of people.
Yo, this mom is so Texas it hurts, dude. She's like, I don't know any vegans, dude. Oh, that's awesome. In a way, being vegan is a privilege, but my mom was vegan in Mexico when she was young.
People also from lower income backgrounds or areas, they also rely on fast food. And that stuff is really cheap because, as far as I understand, the government subsidizes meat and animal products much more than it does vegetables.
When we think about someone who has to work a low-wage job to survive, you also have to think they're probably working more than one job, possibly. You want the easiest meals. You want the highest calorie meals because you're working and you're burning so many calories. So when you're saying why don't you eat more plant-based? You're asking them to change their shopping habits. You're asking them to spend more time. You're asking them to educate themselves. And when you are working that hard, you have to numb yourself. You are eating to survive. That is different than choosing what you're eating.
Totally. And it's not fair to like ask any of those people in survival.
What the fuck is this, bro? This entire debate is just like vegans being reasonable and agreeing with the hunters. This is not how vegans are on the internet, okay? Like, people are like, yeah, this is how vegans are. They're super reasonable, except like whenever the conversation starts, maybe it's because I nuked Discord recently, so like not a lot of them are chiming in right now in the chat. But like I don't know where Bao Bao is when you need him, but like, you know. I'm not hearing any of the usual vegan takes.
Survival mode to completely like shift their way of life and learn a whole new lifestyle. And I definitely agree with that. I'm just curious, like, if we were all born like 3 centuries from now, the world has been globalized and like agriculture can reach every corner of the globe, how would that affect, if at all, your views or your choices?
Am I going to be judged?
I don't want vegetables.
I'm genuinely curious.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm going to eat meat. I don't want to say there's no reason to not eat meat, but there's maybe no reason for me not to eat meat.
I get it.
I'm feeling judged.
They haven't called them Nazis yet. Like, it's kind of weird. Come on, call the indigenous lady a Nazi. What the fuck? Like, that's what I'm used to.
I'm not judging, but I don't understand. I'll be honest, I don't understand.
I mean, like, I still cry when I kill something. I mean, I love the animals, but they're still just animals. Like, it's okay to eat one. Everyone's been eating meat forever.
That's true.
You know, and
it's been
there's
a long
never
time
been
practice.
a culture ever that was 100% vegan. You know, they have shifted. They're plant-based and Mediterranean and Buddhist, and they have moved towards a culture who was 100% vegan. I don't think has ever existed.
It sounds like it's a natural order kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I think this would have been better if they didn't have hunters on. Especially if they didn't have the indigenous lady on too. Because then you could have seen vegans like go buck wild. You know what I mean? Because like the hunters are already like, these are hunters that care about conservation. Like, they should have just had like vegans versus like factory, factory farm eaters. Like that would have been like a significantly better content focused approach. You know what I mean? Even someone like myself who's like a fucking idiot. Even though I do recognize that like, vegans are morally superior. And I'm just too weak to not eat meat because it's delicious. My entire extended family is vegan and I'm shamed for it constantly. The argument is people who aren't vegan are because of a lack of effort, which is infuriating. I mean, it's true.
Interesting to hear because I'm firmly of the belief that like we are animals. So for me, the natural order perspective doesn't hold a lot of water.
Do you guys have pets? Like, in other parts of the world.
Okay, come on.
What you would consider your pet, some people would eat.
But that's there. I mean, like, I don't eat my dog, and I hope none of y'all eat my dog. But that's, I can't worry about someone in China eating dogs. Like, we can all try to make the world a better place. And
it's interesting though, because it does kind of challenge the natural order perspective. Like,
where do you draw the line?
Right.
Something to think about in this conversation too is
they're just animals. You know, how about we cook your dog just an animal? Yeah, no, like I see that argument, but it's like, I think most people fail to recognize that, like, one, we certainly associate like a higher value on like most humans are species. Vegans are species too. Like ultimately, if you ask vegans, like, would you rather eat a human on a fucking plane crash in the aftermath of a plane crash and it's the only way you can survive, or your dog? Most people will say their dog, right? So ultimately, at a certain point, everyone's a species. that shouldn't change someone. That extreme example should not change someone from, you know, preventing further harm happening to animals. So I do see the vegan argument. People who are saying humans are like fucking being ridiculous. So we're supposed to just ignore the unpaid labor of Hispanic and Latino farm workers, or is this chat full of fucking morons, including us all? Wait, what? Dude,